Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are out there in the world. It's time for another podcast. This is our SoundTraxx Soundbites podcast. This is Train Talk from Milepost 141, which if many of you guys may have overlooked that, but Milepost 141 is actually our building address. But did you also know it's our DCC manufacturer ID? That's why we bought this particular property, was because it had 141 on the street label. So
I remember we were talking about it, and we always read back CVA to do a CVA reset 141, and then I finally connected it maybe a month ago. It took me a while. I was like, oh, the address is 141 and our thing is 141. So
mind blown.
It took me a while to figure it out.
Well, we used to be across the street at 210 Rock Point Drive. And kind of across the street. It's not really across the street, but you can see it from our front porch. And when this property was labeled 141, we immediately bought the land. And we owned this land when I started with SoundTraxx over 16 years ago. And as time progressed, we outgrew the building we had, because we had been buying new machines and better machines, things like that, trying to improve the manufacturing process. And so at that point, we realized we're going to need more space. And so we started looking at building a new building. And of course, the property would be on 141 Burnett Drive. And so that way we had that 141 continued. So for Milepost 141, that's actually accurate. So if any of you guys paid attention, there was one podcast I did a while back before you started joining us here, where I did a layout tour of my home layout as it stood there. I've made a bunch of changes since then, but I did that one from Milepost 350 because that was my home street numbers. So I thought that was kind of clever. I don't know how many people got it, but it's fun. Little Easter eggs for you guys. So anyway, for you guys that are new, first off, why haven't you been watching? We offer great entertainment and enjoyment in the world of model trains here every time when we do our podcast. But if you are new here, my name is George Bogatuk. I'm primarily the sales rep here at SoundTraxx, but I've been given the title, product expert?
Product specialist.
Product specialist, that's what it is. I have so many hats, it's not even funny. But so my primary function is dealing with sales to the retailers, making sure they're apprised of new announcements, kind of following up on them, because it's easy for the store owners to get busy day to day and make sure they're keeping product on the shelf for you guys so that you can go to the local stores and buy. And if your local store doesn't carry it, you need to start pressing them and say why. Because I can only force, what's the phrase? You can only take a horse to water. I can't make them drink. So I can talk to them all till I'm blue in the face of the reasons to carry SoundTraxx, but I can't make them buy it. Yeah. So it's entirely up to them, their budgets, and so, that's one thing. So, but anyway, that's kind of a little bit of history on me. Graham, you tell us a little bit about what you do.
My name's Graham, and I am the main customer support rep here. So if you ever call or email, need help, I'm going to be the one to primarily help you. And then if I need some extra help from George, there's pretty much not anything he doesn't know.
Yeah, there's a lot I don't know. One of the signs of knowledge is knowing what you don't know. Yeah. But the best part is that if you don't know it, you're going to find the answer. Yeah. We'll figure it out together with you or with, you as the viewer.
We're going to try and get it working for you no matter what.
Exactly. So anyway, just to kind of give you a little bit, I know you guys have been tuning in. That's kind of boring. It's repetitive and stuff like that. But we get new viewers every week. And, we hear from you guys. And every now and then we'll get somebody call up and says, man, I just found these podcasts. These are great. And so thanks for watching. I appreciate it and hope they're entertaining and hope they're informative.
I actually had someone just on the phone yesterday saying that they watched the podcast. They took my idea. We were talking about the function mapping. F5, F6 matching the Athearn Genesis locomotives. And he was like, yeah, that's a good idea. Oh, okay. I didn't think of that before. And now he's doing it too. So
that's awesome.
People are watching and we're getting real feedback.
Good.
From what we're talking about.
Good. That's always good to hear. So, and I know I see a lot of you guys at shows always come up, hey, I watch your videos. The videos are great. So be sure you're also subscribed to our YouTube channel when we post informational videos, whether it be, the podcast like we were talking about here, where you can watch on listen to on Spotify, I think we're on, and Apple Podcasts or whatever it is. There's a couple other places that we post this as well as YouTube. But if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, you should go out and subscribe, because there's a lot of great information that's in the manual that maybe explains how to do something, but it doesn't really explain why you want to do something. And that's where our informational videos on YouTube will kind of show you why you want to do certain things. And so from that perspective, I think that's been certainly helpful. I know almost every time when people reach out to me asking tech questions, and I'm sure you do this as well, I'll link videos explaining what's going on and how to do it, so that way you guys not only read what we are telling you to do, but now you can take it over and see what's going on.
I have a lot of people who say, hey, you sent me the video, I watched it, I had it in front of me, I had my phone, my Blunami, or just the power cab, anything, just programming it. They could pause the video, kind of follow along, and then get everything working exactly how they want it to be.
Perfect. And that's what we're here for. We're here to help you guys enjoy the best out of SoundTraxx products. We put a lot of work into them. We're very proud of them. And so because of that, we also want to help you get the most out of it. There's a lot of people out there will limit their enjoyment or their use of a decoder based on the fact that, well, I can only figure out how to blow the horn or ring the bell, and everything else is just kind of left off. But then I'll take my models somewhere. Like I was at Prairie Scale, we talked about that last time, and everybody sees them running and going, wow, those sound great and they look amazing. What did you do? And I'm like, nothing you can't do. But you have to free your mind, for lack of a better term, where, a lot of times you may have to dive in and learn, but the more we learn, the better off we are. And don't let your fear of trying something out limit your enjoyment of the hobby.
Yeah, you can always reset it. Always reset the decoder, go back to square one. If you do something, it doesn't work right, okay, then don't be afraid of changing things.
Absolutely. So with that, it was a little bit longer than I think I initially planned, but it's good information.
Yeah, for sure.
So subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then if you want, you can hit that notification bell where you can get notified every time we post a video, but we try to post them every weekend. And we've been posting videos on the Tsunami 2 for quite some time. So chances are you can search YouTube for SoundTraxx and a topic, SoundTraxx lights, or SoundTraxx consisting, or SoundTraxx dynamic digital exhaust, or SoundTraxx whatever, and you should be able to find a video out there describing it. As a matter of fact, one of the guys I was talking to today was asking, is there a way to prevent motion of the locomotive until a certain speed step? And I said, well, of course, it's built in there. So look at that, and if anybody can know what that feature is, let us know in the comments below.
Give them a little trivia pop quiz.
Yeah, there you go. We'll see how close you guys are and paying attention to the features that we built into it. So anyway, with that, we've been working on projects. I'm actually surprised at how many projects this guy's got in the works at any one time. And so you've got 2 locomotives here. And those are some sharp looking engines. Can you tell us about them?
Yeah, so it's been a while since we've actually shot the podcast. We release it every 2 weeks, but we kind of got a little bit ahead. So it's been a while, so we've had some time to really dial in and work on some things. And I was recently on eBay. That's where how all good stories start.
Yeah, right.
And I had been looking for a while, just a Alaska Railroad 57-foot mechanical reefer. One had popped up, buy it now for a fair price. So I purchased it. It came in the mail. But the seller had included a sheet of all these other items he had, but they weren't listed on his eBay store yet.
Oh, that's sneaky.
Yeah, so I give him an email up. He had 4 locomotives, a caboose, and a trailer and flat car. And I give him an email up, and he's got them available. So we kind of worked out a little bit of a deal, and a couple days later, four new engines showed up. The 3007 here in the lead, these are both Atlas Master engines. The 3007 is what they call their silver. So it comes DCC ready, but not sound equipped. And then the difference, pretty much the only difference between the silver and the gold is that the gold comes with factory sound equipped. And then, so I actually purchased a 3007 on Facebook last spring. And so it got a Tsunami 2 and speaker installed. And that was kind of before I was all into Blunami. And then this last weekend, I was cleaning out my room and I found some cash sitting in a drawer. And I said, well, I guess 3007 is going to get Blunami too, because the idea is I'll run these two also with the 2004 that we featured a couple podcasts ago now. So both of these have the Blunami 21 pins. It's a super easy upgrade. I'm going to send Mackenzie some photos so she can kind of show that process. You can take these models. They're pretty affordable. Like the 3007 I got for $100.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
And they really hold up. They run really well. Especially, you might not have all the details like ditch lights. It was common that they omitted. So might look into adding those in the future. And then the sunshades come separate to add in the package. Haven't done those yet.
That's not that big a deal.
No. A couple of drops of glue, they pop right in.
I was just saying they're pre-drilled, aren't they?
Pre-drilled, ready to go.
Okay.
And pretty much now I find that I really like the Atlas or the Athearn engines. So I took these, put in the 21-pin Blunami decoders, new speakers in both of them to match, and then I also put KD 148 full-size couplers on the end, and that's about all I did to these engines. The other thing I did, which is kind of a spoiler, well, I guess the video will probably go out before the podcast, is cleaning the wheels. This is very important. So the 3000 today I just had got from this lot, all the locomotives were brand new, sealed in the box. So, normally they should run great. But even just brand new out of the box, it's cutting in and out on just straight, clean track. And so it's very important to clean the wheels on your model. We showed it turned the paper towel black, even though it was brand new. So it's very important to get a good operation.
Yeah, and that video, you should be able to find that on our YouTube channel by the time this video posts and our podcast posts. So if you go to our YouTube channel and look back a few weeks, you should be able to find that video. Because not only did we talk about yours being brand new, but during that video, I also took one of our trade show mules and cleaned the wheels on it, and you could see definitely that it needed some cleaning. And then just before this, you actually took my engine and cleaned it up, and I'll get into mine in a minute, but this has been sitting on the shelf pretty much for years. This was from part of the original Athearn release of the Jeep 15s, but it made that Alaska look clean.
So just another thing I wanted to point out, somebody brought up, I am using the Android version of Blunami here, and I do have them consisted. Somebody had called up today and asked, when's consisting coming to Blunami on Android? So we definitely have that. Makes it really easy. And I used the CV copy and paste feature to help set these engines up. I actually had used the 2004 as a baseline, and that's a Jeep 38, so it's got the 645 non-turbo engine sound. So all I knew what I needed to change was just that prime mover sound. So I went in and changed that, and then when I got the decoder for 3007 this week, copy 3008, 3007, and they're pretty much identical. I did a little bit of pitch shift on the prime movers, so they're not going in and out of phase with each other, and I gave them some different air horns to kind of give them a unique profile. So,
well, let's get them running. I'll move this guy out of the way for a little bit and let you see these and let you run them. So these are going to be the 645 turbo. A real common one. This is the original EMD Blunami.
Yeah. So we were talking. It's like if you're gonna have one bestseller product, I feel like it would be the Blunami EMD. The EMD sound profile is pretty much uniform. I was thinking back, like we'll make 6 Blunami locomotives now, and 5 out of my 6 Blunami engines have the EMD decoder in them.
Yep.
So it's a very versatile and uniform decoder. So we'll get the headlight on. I've already got them consisted together, so we should be good to go there.
Move the camera around a little bit so you can see.
We won't leave the bell on.
You're not selling ice cream?
No ice cream today. Well, the weather's been pretty nice lately.
Yeah, it has been. It's been warming up, but we're supposed to allegedly get some snow this weekend, which is interesting.
And I have done no speed matching on these either, so and they run pretty much perfectly together.
Yeah.
Yep. So this will be a fun pair. Take down to the club and run some trains with them.
Well, if you're nice, I may actually let you come over and run trains at the house with them. You can do the grain turn on the local.
Yeah, that'd be great.
There you go. Those are nice looking engines, and Atlas did a really good job on them. The more I look at some of these older Atlas stuff, I mean, they really do have a really good detail level, and they're quite affordable, quite frankly.
Yeah, especially if you're good about bargain hunting for them,
mm-hmm.
and they change them periodically, like where they might go from the 8-pin to the 21-pin. So if you get a relatively modern one,
mm-hmm.
it's going to be an easy upgrade.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I've got a few of the Jeep 40s actually in the MKT green and yellow. And on my layout, I've got a small interchange track.
Yeah.
So I have no reason really to have more than one locomotive, if that. But it's nice to see that and those look really good. Those run well. Yeah. So, nice. Well, with me, I've got, I know, surprise, surprise, another Jeep 15.
Yeah, I think we were talking, you have eight now?
No, I have, with the new ones that are coming, I'll have 5 that are on the layout. But I have the two new ones we talked about last time.
Yeah.
Those are, one of them's already Blunami now. The other one's going to get a Blunami very soon. And I've got the 3rd and 4th one coming. And then I have 2 at the house now, and then this one.
Okay.
So what's that? Where I lost track. 7?
7.
So I have 7 of them total. And then I have 2 or 3 more that just need to be renumbered because, of course, it's been a long time since Athearn had done these Jeep 15s in the Missouri Pacific. So what I had done was I had started collecting a few of them. So I actually have 4 of them that were 1575.
Okay.
So this one started life as 1575, but I went in and renumbered it using a method that a friend of mine sent me. And to lift the numbers off the long hood, basically you take some of the Walthers. My brain is going blank. Why is that? It's the Solvaset.
Okay, yeah.
The Walther Solvaset, and then you cut a paper towel to be about the size of the numbers you're trying to remove, and you just soak it in there and let it sit for a couple minutes or so, and then you peel it off, and then you kind of get like a pencil eraser and you kind of rub off most of it and come back in again, and it leaves the blue paint mostly intact.
Yeah.
Now there were a couple of times I got a little antsy and I was like, no, I don't have time, wait, I'm
taking it off.
And so I got my X-Acto knife and kind of gently scraped, and there were a couple of nicks on the paint, but you know what, it's at the numbers and it's just weathering to me.
Yeah, you can fix that.
But that was how I did those and renumbered this as 1580. And so there were certain features on these particular locomotives having to do with the type of trucks that were under them, because these are the Blomberg M trucks and the anti-climbers on the ends, to make sure they were in the right number series, as well as something that would be running in 1978 versus something that was delivered in 1980. Yeah. And so the Missouri Pacific actually ended up with 190 Jeep 15s, 160 of them were the regular GP15s, and then they had 30 of the AC series.
So you got about 180 to go.
Yeah. Yeah, just 180 to go. But anyway, but this is going to bring up kind of a lead into our topic for today, fixing up old units. Because this was done way back. This is probably, 10 or 12 years old, and I've had them when Athearn did the first GP15s. And when we did this, they had the 1.5 volt lights. And so in order to modernize it, I had to go in and update everything to LEDs. So I'm going to move this camera around over here, and hopefully you guys can see that. But of course, we've got our headlight, and these are all LEDs, and I'm using some lenses on here. But we've got the front class lights. You can see the front number boards are lit. And then I have my ground lights, or the truck lights that are right here, tied in with the front number board. So that way all my locomotives are done the same way. And so we'll go ahead and get it started here.
Well, and speaking of like the age, I was looking it up last night actually on these, and these are from 2016, the Alaska engines.
So that's not that far.
Not too far off, but still 10 years old almost.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you really sit and do the math, holy crap, yeah, you're right. That is almost 10 years ago.
You don't have to be buying the latest and greatest to enjoy the latest and greatest with your trains.
Correct. I mean, there's a lot of techniques, and this instance here, when we're talking about this Jeep 15, I've done a video showing you how to add the LEDs for things like the class lights, or I haven't quite done the number boards, but it's a similar process. On these Athearn hood units like this, that's actually already a hollow cavity behind it, and these are already lenses. But the problem was that Athearn, what they did was they printed the white numbers and then just slapped black paint behind it instead of doing it the other way around. And so what ended up happening is if you put a light behind it, it doesn't shine through the black paint very well. So I just printed some decals to put on the front number boards on this one, and had it cut, to the size. And then once I put the LED inside there, then I put the lens back on it, and it shines through pretty good. I did this on white decal paper and just printed the black.
Yep.
So it makes a really believable look. And then with the class lights, you can see that they're significantly dimmer than the headlight. And that's just a lighting feature. We have on-off brilliance 1 and on-off brilliance 2, so you can adjust the brilliance using a CV rather than having to play around with a whole bunch of different resistor values.
I was actually just talking to someone about that the other day. They had no idea. He's like, I want to dial in my number boards, I think, or the truck lights. Mm-hmm. He's like, they're just too bright. I'm like, well, we can actually fix that. So
yeah. That's
a great feature that's usually overlooked.
Yep. So a lot of these things that we've done, there's videos on how to do it on our YouTube channel. And then just to show you on the back of this one, these particular models did not come with any of the number boards lit. So on this particular one, the rear number boards were just cast in the body. And so drilling through the plastic, and then I had to create my own lens to fit that. It's a little bit tedious, not impossible. And so once I was done, now you can kind of see, if you're on the video podcast, you can kind of see the look. And I'm kind of happy with the way it looks. It doesn't, you've got the bulb and it's kind of dim on the ends, but you can see the brightness of the number boards. So this is a nice addition. But the really cool thing is the new Jeep 15s already have all this done.
Yeah, they're pretty much ready to go.
So
minus the truck lights, right?
Correct. You have to add the truck lights or the ground lights. Correct. They don't have that for whatever reason. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, the ground lights are actually so that the engineer can look at the ground to make sure that the model's moving. Because if you're in the dark and you throttle up, that engine notches up and the locomotive starts shaking. You don't have any idea if you're actually moving. You may, with 1,500 horsepower here, trying to pull, say, a 50-car train may not be able to do it. So those wheels are just spinning or slipping, and the engineer has no idea because everything's dark outside. So the idea of the ground lights is so they can actually look out and make sure they're moving, so they can get more power if they need to get moving on the throttle. It's a nice addition, but I've noticed there's a lot of people will put them on the back trucks too, and there really wasn't, because that's not where the engineer would stand. But to be fair, if you want to do that, it's your model. Go ahead and do whatever. But that's the purpose behind the ground lights. So anyway, with that, I've added a little bit of momentum. Or did I? Oh, doesn't look like I did. So I got some more programming to do.
Yeah.
This one I had done for about the last 2 weeks, but it's been sitting on my workbench while I was waiting to put my magnetic hoses and the MU cables and stuff. So I guess I need to do some momentum and stuff. So I'm not done programming it yet, apparently.
Take one of your other ones and copy paste it.
That's what I'm going to do. So, but anyway, this kind of leads into a little bit more of the topic. I'm going to shut this guy down. With today, we've seen a lot of uncertainty in our hobby. There's a lot of information going around about tariffs and extra charges. And I think as of this podcast recording, not necessarily the publishing, we're at like 145%, potentially threatening to go to 200%. And the interesting thing is that, this potentially really can take our hobby and make it extremely expensive. Because as new models come out, the manufacturers certainly aren't going to just eat that tariff.
Yeah, I've seen like if a locomotive was priced $300, it might become $450.
Correct.
Something like that.
So, as we try to figure out and wait and see without, we don't want to get political here on the show. So we're not going to talk about the reasons why, what it's to do and so forth. But what it does is it gives us an opportunity as hobbyists to now maybe instead of buying 3 or 4 of the new whatevers that are out there, now it's time to maybe go back in time and maybe pull up some models you had sitting around. For example, my Jeep 15s. As I go through and upgrade them, it takes a little bit more work because obviously they're not necessarily today's lighting standards. Yeah. But it doesn't take that much effort to put a little bit of time into them. Plus, it gives you some hobby time. I mean, who doesn't want that, right?
Yeah.
And it gives you a new toy to play with. Model to play with.
At the end of the day, they're toy trains.
Yeah, well, they're model trains. So, but at the end of the day, we do have, it gives us something new to play with. Or maybe make something old new. Maybe there was something that, was one of your favorite locomotives, but due to newer technology and better models come out, it ended up being kind of pushed off to the wayside and forgotten about a little bit because the new models were out. And this is an opportunity, and especially with SoundTraxx products, you can go in and upgrade those old ones. I'm not to judge whether, how much you want to spend on your projects, but I mean, honestly, if you want to go in and you have an emotional connection with this Tyco locomotive, if you really want to do it, you certainly can. Our decoders can help you do that. And so that way you can get a new life on an old loco. The biggest thing you just have to remember is that a decoder can make a good running locomotive run great, but it can't take a poor running locomotive and make it run good.
Yeah, I think we'll probably be seeing like a resurgence kind of like with swap meets or train shows, different things like that, kind of people starting to bargain hunt, look around, say, oh, look, I found an Atlas Jeep for $100. Mm-hmm. I'll slap a new Blunami in it, get a new speaker, give it some new life, and then kind of rejuvenate without having to buy the expensive brand new model. You'll still end up with something really nice at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that's great. And if you have a question or if you have a model that you maybe have on your workbench that you want to upgrade, give us a call. Either Graham or myself will be happy to help give you some tips and ideas on how to upgrade that model so that way you can get a new life on it and still have that feeling of getting new models, without having to worry about what the new models on the shelf are actually running, new imports, things like that.
Yeah, that's like with these. I just go bargain hunting, eBay, Facebook, looking around for different things that have been released but haven't been re-released. And the Alaska Railroad's a kind of harder paint scheme, limited road numbers and things that were produced originally.
Yeah.
So you kind of hunt them out, and then you say, okay, I'm going to put the new decoder, the new speaker in there, and get them going. It's like having a brand new model, even if it was made 10 years ago.
Yeah. And don't forget, with some of these older models, if they don't have all the detail on them, we have our friends, Details West. There's also precision scale that makes a lot of detail parts. I know you can find a lot of those type of stuff. Plus, there's new companies out there that are making a lot of etched metal parts. So, like, say, for example, if you wanted to change the intake grills over here to etched metal, there's companies out there that make it. Plano Products makes some stuff like that. There's KV Model, and then Gotham Marine or Gothic Marine, whatever they are.
Yeah, and then I know huge too is a lot of the 3D printing stuff.
And 3D printing especially as well. There's a lot of good companies out there that make detail parts. So you, with just a little bit of effort, you can make your older models look great with just some minor detail parts, some small additions, get a SoundTraxx product, put it in there, and you can really make that locomotive shine. And honestly, when it comes to matching paint, I don't really worry about it too much.
No.
Because, you know, you touch up the blue, like for example, we can go to True Color and get a Jinx blue, and it's pretty dang close, but it's maybe not dead on to what Athearn used, or say, for example, what Atlas used on their U23s. It may not be the perfect shade, but throw a coat of weathering on it, and you will never notice it.
I've actually been looking in the real world a lot at different pictures, and you can actually visibly see, like if these two Alaska engines are the same paint scheme, they went through the same paint shop, if somebody mixed the paint different that day, a little slight variation, and common, like on passenger cars, I know people will get hung up on, all my passenger cars got to have the same exact color shade, and in reality, it's not like that at all.
Right.
Just depending on when they were repainted or different things like that.
Correct. So a little bit of weathering, and then here's another tip is that if you go into the, let's say you go to the swap meets and you pick up some old Tyco cars for $1 a piece, use those to experiment with your weathering.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube, learn how to do some airbrush weathering, some oil paints, things like that, and then experiment on your trash models. And when you're done, you spend $1. Who cares? Throw it away.
Yeah.
And you may decide that's the best looking model. Put some new trucks under it and new couplers. Throw it on the layout. You never know what you don't know, and then that helps. Bring up the how many times can I say right? We got to get the counter going. But you can bring life into a new model by just putting a new decoder into it, putting some details on it, and adding some lights. So and that's kind of what we did here. I just changed the number on it, made some new decals, added the different lights, and now I can put that right next to the new Jeep 15s, and you'd never know the difference.
No, not at all.
So, well, any other thoughts, closing comments?
No, just keep working on your trains. Contact us if you got questions. We're here to help you, and we'll get it working. Yeah, and we'll all get through this together. Hopefully all this will get resolved. But in the short term, take a look at some of your old models and see what you got, and see what, call us up. We'll be happy to help. With that, that's everything I've got. So we'll close out this episode of the podcast. This is our 21st podcast. And this is officially labeled as Season 2, Episode 8. We looked it up this time. Yeah, I looked it up this time. So I wanted to make sure I didn't speak out of turn or guess shooting in the dark there. But yeah, Train Talk from Milepost 141, SoundTraxx Soundbites podcast. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see y'all next time.